detail, but is nope. Pick up all your toys, get rid of all your toys, put them in a toy bin, and put them somewhere out of sight. Toys just increase play drive. So place. So if this dog is constantly in a play drive state of mind, that's what makes him so hard. This is what makes everything about him hard, from walking to dealing with stimulus, everything. So place. So the last thing I want to do is put a bunch of stuff in his life that's going to actually increase the prey drive and make prey drive something that he desires more than pack drive. And so by eliminating constant access to toys, you are going to heighten his pack drive and make him less obsessed with things other than you. And then we're going to use toys to fulfill his prey drive. So it's not like we're never going to use them, it's just we're going to use them in a different way. And we're going to fulfill his prey drive. And at the same time, we're going to be relationship building, because I'm going to make the activity not just this free-for-all. So if you've ever just let Jax out in the backyard with the toys, we can have a free-for-all. That's a really quick way to make yourself irrelevant. Go entertain yourself. I don't have energy for you, go wear yourself out. It's like that. Those things are not good things for a dog. So what I would suggest instead is that every time you play, it's going to be an interactive thing, teamwork. You guys are going to be doing it together. There's going to be lots of rules, boundaries, limitations. We're going to ask lots of things for him, so the toy doesn't just come for free, he has to earn it. But the key component to this particular technique that I'm going to show you today is what I call contrast building with a prey drive activity to teach the dog to self-soothe. So Jax has a really hard time calming himself down when he's worked up. You know, he's one of those dogs that when he sees a stranger, he loses all control of himself and he gets himself worked up into a frenzy. So, believe it or not, this play technique, dogs learn through playing with one another. So this play technique is going to actually, over time, teach him to calm himself down faster when he reaches an aroused, excited state. So if this is actually not just going to be fun, it's not just going to be about building your relationship better, but you're actually going to start to see these things transfer over into real life scenarios that will benefit him better. So as you can see, I'm trying to just maintain place. One of the things that you'll notice is that he continues to try to get off or scent the area. And scenting is prey drive. And I want the place board to represent pack drive. So if I start to see him, you know, getting a little too sniffy, right now I'm training, maybe down the road I won't be as strict with him, but right now sniffing leads to breaking place. Almost every single time, he would much rather follow his nose than listen to directions. So I need to make sure that I'm being proactive in preventing him from breaking place instead of, you know, letting this air scenting or ground scenting escalate to the point where he's broken his command. So that's what I was doing there with the leash flick. Now, I've got this tug toy. I don't actually know if he is going to like this. This is the first time I've introduced it to him. But, you know, if you're going to be setting something up like this, I would suggest that you do your crate ritual, your door ritual, you potty him. I'm doing this inside right now because outside I can't get pack drive out of him when I add toys. You know, he's already sniffing everything and fixating on every single noise in the environment. So if I add this and then try to get eye contact from him or get him to otherwise comply to anything that I'm asking, it makes it a lot harder. So eventually I'd like to do this outside, but for now, to build his pack drive and to help him make this easier on him, I've chosen to do it inside to eliminate the extra amount of stimulus that's going on outside right now. So that's why we're inside. So you can do this inside. Once it gets easier for you, you can do it outside. You know, your backyard might be a good place to do it depending on how much stimulation is going on back there. But after you get done pottying him, then you're either going to come back in or go to a place board in your yard, and he's going to sit here and wait for you while you present the toy. So toy does not mean go. Toy needs to still represent, you know, I haven't asked him to get off his place, so I want to make sure he understands that even when a toy is present, or a dog or a person or whatever else, he stays. He doesn't break. So that's my first rule. My second rule is I want eye contact from him before he can have it. So I'm going to have this toy down low by my hip. That way I can tell. Like if I hold it right here, it's really hard for me to see if he's looking at me or the toy. So I'm going to hold it down low or maybe even out to the side so I can tell that I am getting genuine eye contact from him. And then once I get that, I'm going to release him to get it. I'm going to try to play tug with him, but I'm not super sure if he's going to, you know, I don't know how he's going to respond to this, so I guess we'll find out. So I'm going to wait for eye contact. You want to get it? You want to get it? Get it. Get it, buddy. Yeah. You want to get it? You soft mouth? And maybe he'll be different for you, you know? Like, right now I'm not getting a desire to latch on with his mouth. There it is. Yeah. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. Get it. Get it. Yeah. Good. Yes. Next time I'm going to let him win. There you go. Good. See if that will entice him to want to play more. Get it. And so the whole idea is that you spend some time playing with him. I have a variety of different things we can utilize to play. I don't know if he likes fetch, but fetch is a little bit different than this, but we can talk about that option. We can play tug. We can just kind of, if he prefers to just dink around with a toy, he can do that too, although he can't get, no, you can't start looking for other things, though. It's toy time. You can play tug. I've got flirt pull activities where you have him chase a toy and you're like, tied to a string. So we've got all these wonderful things where we can actually fulfill their prey drive and have fun and create some excitement. But then at this point what I need is out, leave it, good, face. But at some point what I need to start creating is an off switch. We're not playing, you need to relax. Right? Out means drop it, leave it means don't, just leave it alone. Don't put it in your mouth, don't fixate on it, just leave it alone, we're done. You know, let place, and then let's go is like, okay, we're walking over to the place board, and then place. Now this is where the self-soothing begins. And you probably can't see it in the camera, but I can actually tell that this activity, his pupils dilated when I played, and he has an erection right now. So he's a lot calmer than he used to be just because of all the work that I've done with him over the last, you know, week and a half. But that's what toys are going to do to him. This is what prey drive does to him. This is what anything exciting does to him. Even hiking is going to do this to him. It's arousing. You know, it's stimulating. So he's going to get an erection or he's going to have dilated pupils. And the more we allow that to escalate, the harder it is going to be to have control over him. So the self-soothing technique, what I'm going to look for is for this high from the toy to come down several notches. And when I first start self-soothing activities with a dog like Jax, I have to kind of make mile markers and then build on them, right? So this looks really calm, but I can tell his pupils are not as dilated, they're going down. Doesn't have as large of an erection, it's going down. So I can tell the arousal is leaving his system. But just because they're sitting doesn't mean they're calm. And so what I need to wait for is for calmer, you know, something that's calmer than what he's giving me. So in this case, I might look for, you know, that his erection goes away, that his eyes aren't dilated anymore, you know, that he's still focused on me. He's got a soft forehead, you know. And I think one of the big things with Jax is he's not leaning forward. He's constantly leaning forward, which is something I see in a lot of pit bulls or other high prey drive dogs, is this constant anticipation of moving forward. So I like to see the body move back a little bit or maybe even go into a down so that they're not anticipating and constantly you know, let's anticipate, come. I gotta be brave because excitable and he's, he's young and he's, was kind of a wreck when he first came in here, I can only ask for a percentage of calm to start with, and then I can build on it. So when he comes home, you might not be able to get him all the way down to laying down and relaxing when he first comes home. You might have to just work on asking for, okay, well, at least you're a little bit calmer. I'll take that. Maybe if he's a 10 when he's playing, like a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 10 in excitement when he's playing a toy, I would at least ask for a 4 or a 5 before you start playing again. And this is just when he first comes home. I don't know how he'll be. He might be really good. I don't know. But I'm just giving you an example of what I'm doing right now because, dogs eventually what they do is they lay down in between and they relax. They're like, I'm tired. I'm just going to wait for the next one. He still has an erection. So I'm seeing this kind of persistence and this determination and this higher desire for being in prey drive and playing and getting excited and worked up. And so I'm naturally only going to be able to get him to a certain point unless I want to wait forever, So instead of sometimes when you're training a dog, it's not about asking for 100% right away. It's asking for the best they can give me right now. And then when I see that becomes easier for them, I will continuously ask more. And that way you're not asking too much too soon, and they can start doing it on their own without having so much pressure put on them to have such high performance right off the bat. I don't know how that happened. So erection's gone. I'm going to use that as my indicator. I know that seems super weird, and I'm sorry if that makes you uncomfortable, but it's just part of arousal for dogs. And male dogs really can give great indications how aroused they are because you can see it quite clearly when they are erect. So same rules. I'm going to wait for eye contact. You get it? And I say, get it? Yeah, get it. Yeah. And you kind of seem to like this side. Yeah. Oh, yeah, let's play tug. Let's play tug. Yeah, good. 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 Yes. Yes. Get it. Get it. Yes. Good. And I'm letting him win right now, which is not really that ideal, honestly, but because I want to build his drive, he seems hesitant to play with me a little bit. And it's probably because I put so many rules and boundaries on him. He's like, are you seriously going to let me cut loose? You're not setting me up, are you? No, buddy, I've never set you up. I've never set you up. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, that's much better. I like that. Yeah, get it. Get it. There we go. See, this is just trust building. This guy has trust issues. He's like, are you sure we're going to play? I don't know, man. Yes, I want to play with you, buddy. I do. He did this with the other toy I presented to him, too. It's like, oh my God, are you sure? And just because you got something different doesn't make this not a reality, right? Like, different handlers are going to create different experiences. So maybe he never went through that with you, but you also never went through a period of time where you bossed him around and created a lot of boundaries and limitations for him either. So it's a bit different when you're starting a relationship on a different foot. And I am having to build trust with this guy because he has clearly been mistreated. Yes. Yes. He's a good boy. Okay, leave it. Good job, buddy. All right, please. That was much better. I was stoked that he actually was tugging and engaged with me. Please. So that's much better. I'm liking that. We're going to build off that over the next remainder of his stay. And really, I'm probably going to do other things with him too. Honestly, I think he'd benefit from scent work. He's got such an amazing nose. Place. I'm sure he likes other toys too, but this was just the most convenient play activity I could do in this small space that I have here. But the possibilities are endless. I think what's really important though is that when I do these types of activities, I do them once a day on majority of dogs. Some dogs need more to build stronger contrast. But with him, I'm just going to do one a day. And this is going to prevent too much adrenaline from entering the system. I'm still working on getting some of that out of him still. Also, I'm trying to eliminate the sheer amount of prey drive that he's in on a regular basis, you know. He lives in it. That's the only drive he's really ever in. At least he used to be. Now I'm seeing a different dog, but that was his reality previous to this. So naturally, I don't want to do these activities on hyperdrive, or else that's still going to be the only thing he cares about. I need to start, you know, asking for pack drive much more frequently in different situations, and not have these toys and treats and other things that kind of create this predatory state of mind. Now, you know, there's always like future questions that I get asked. Well, what is it going to be like when he's, you know, how long is this going to last? What's the time frame on this? You know, when can I get to the point where he's just in the backyard alone playing with a toy again? And I just kind of want to touch on that real quick because, you know, I told you with the midweek, I really can't predict the future. So I can't really predict how this is going to look a year from now. I can make guesses based off of all the experience in dogs that I've owned and trained, or all the dogs whose owners have actually listened to me and gotten their dogs to phenomenal points. You know, I can use that as a standard, but even that is not consistent in its accuracy because every dog's different. So really, I think my biggest piece of advice is, you know, one, I am setting up a lifestyle training for you. So this isn't a period of time. I'm actually trying to give you tools and techniques and activities to share with him to last a lifetime, not just a period of time. You know, so that would be the first piece of advice. Is this is not just a, hey, do these types of prey drive activities once a day for a month, and then you'll never have to do them again, and he can just entertain himself from now on. That's definitely not what I'm saying. This is more long term. And the other thing is, I don't know what this guy's capable of. You know, I really don't. I know he has great potential, but I'm only seeing a small window of that right now, considering how hard of a dog he is. And so, you know, right now, I would say, no, Jack should not be outside unsupervised, ever. And I would never have him have free access to a toy. What's the point? You're just building prey drive, you know? Maybe it looks cute, and maybe he likes it, but it's not doing anything for your relationship, and it's not doing anything for his state of mind. So that's what I'm going to say right now. I personally would never just throw my dog out of place. Even my trained dogs, you'll never see me throw them in my backyard unsupervised, and you'll never see me just give them a toy and go, hey, entertain yourself. I prefer purposeful play and not putting a dog in a prey drive state for no reason at all. Why would I? It's a stressful state of mind, and it builds adrenaline and all sorts of other issues. So, I'm telling you this because I know you have a lot of questions, and the big question is always like, well, what about the future? And I can't answer that to a T, but I want you to look at these techniques as more of, this is how our life is going to be, instead of how long do I need to do this for. Because if you can start getting your head wrapped around that, this is how it's going to be, then you're not going to start putting deadlines on him for expectations, which is where a lot of people go wrong. I've been doing this for 2 weeks. I don't feel like doing this anymore. When are we going to get to the next phase? I don't really feel like doing this. You know, it's like, dude, the dog isn't ready for it. I don't know what to tell you. You're moving too fast. You know, and so dog training takes time, and especially when you're rehabilitating a brain like his, it's going to take time. And so I think the big thing to remember is just go with emotions, go with the information, go with the flow, watch the progression blossom, but don't look at the progression and go, you know what, I think I'm going to go back to the way it was, where he was in my bed and I was letting him have free access to toys and run around the backyard unsupervised. I preferred that. Because I'm here to tell you right now that it didn't work when you first got him, and it's not going to work after training. Sometimes the lifestyles people choose to live with the dog is actually part of the reason why the dog is the way it is. The lifestyle wasn't working. And I don't think that lifestyle is ever going to work for Jax. That's my professional opinion. Again, I don't really know how it's going to turn out in the future, but I just wanted to prepare you for that because I don't want you to really get focused on how long is this going to take or how much time before I can spoil him rotten again, you know, and just get more into the mindset of this is what makes him happy, this is fulfilling for him, this makes our relationship stronger, he's better about running into things that he used to freak out about, he's not as fearful, he's not as reactive, he walks full on a leash, he comes when called, and you start seeing all these things that are beneficial. Go with it, run with it, embrace it. Don't look for the old way because the old way wasn't working, and I can't guarantee you that mixing what I'm telling you and mixing the old way is going to work. And it's sometimes when people start getting into that the training unravels and things start to go to shit again. So I'm going to do one more. The reason why I've chosen to break off this conversation and do one more is because look how he's laying on his hip. He's even calmer than he was the time before this. So I'm going to seize that moment and do one more. This is the last one I'm going to do. You want to get it? Yeah! Get it, buddy. Get it. Yes. 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 Good. Good. Yeah. I'm continuously letting him win. I might need to watch your dynamic to see if get it. Get it. You know, it might not be good for him to win with you. You know, we might need to make it so that you always win. I'm not totally sure with this guy, but I know that he feels very empowered when he's in your personal space, empowered enough to feel comfortable jumping up on you and claiming your space and all that. So it might be more beneficial to win tug instead of letting him win. Right now, I'm just trying to build drive. Get it! Get it! You want to play? You want to play? Good. Hey. Get it. Yeah, good. Good job. Right now it's more beneficial to let him win because as you can see, he's not super committed to tugging every single time. So I'm trying to get him to actually engage in the activity, and letting them win oftentimes is like, yeah, I want more. If that makes any sense. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Good. Place. Good boy, Jax. Good boy. So you might have to assess, you know, that aspect of some of the activities that you do with him. Huh? Huh? What's up? Need to grab your leash. You didn't freak out when you walked through the door. So, place. So this is I'm really actually proud of him because that would normally be something that he would at least at, you know. At least initially until he could tell he knew Leah. But so that's an improved response from what I've seen from him. Anyway, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wait for him to calm down, and then when he's to the point, then I'm gonna turn this video off and we're gonna call it. But you know, whether you're playing tug or flirt pole, which is probably going to be the two primary things. And you know, honestly, this wasn't even tug. This was like kind of tug, but it was mostly him just like flailing around and having fun with the toy. That's okay too. It's just you got to make sure you're not doing it for a long. You know, you don't want the toy to be. You don't want him to be playing longer than he is learning. You know, off switch, obedience, rules, boundaries, limitations, self-soothing. You know, we always want this more structured part to have more weight on the activity than the play itself. So that's a good kind of rule of thumb. And this one was very little play and a lot of structure, but he's going to get a lot better as we continue to go. So the play will actually increase a little bit, but I'll still always have this structured part be the primary focus of the activity. But the self-soothing portion I feel like is the most important part in terms of long-term growth and development. I personally feel like when people get too caught up in the excitement side of it, and they're just too caught up in the adrenaline side of it, and the, you know, trying to get them to anticipate and when is it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? Then that's when you start to see more problems in their overall behavior. So I would focus a lot more on getting him to calm himself all the way down than the tug or the chase or whatever form of play that you're using. And this is going to start to translate for Mr. Jax. So it's really cool because, you know, he's very reactive when he sees things. He's just automatically kind of in this defensive state of mind where he feels like he needs to protect and let everyone know he's there. It's like, hey look, I'm here, get away, you make me nervous. And so what you're actually going to find is that this particular technique will eventually translate into real life situations where you'll notice that he's going to recover from his reactivity faster. And part of that's going to be the reactivity training that we're doing, but because we're using play to teach him to calm himself down, you're actually going to start to see this particular activity build on this concept of self-soothing and really play a strong role in his overall temperament around things that would normally get him very aroused. And arousal isn't always a positive thing, you know, they can get aroused when they're scared too. So it's just this kind of hyper-vigilant, prey-drive state of mind where he gets real fixated and worked up. That's kind of more what I'm referring to. Anyway, he's doing real well. I'm really proud of him. I just want to make sure you got a play video and get a little update on Mr. Jax.